3. Welcome, everybody, boys and girls, and wrestling fans of all ages. It's your boys again, back with the Bumps and Bruises podcast. We've been off I have been off for a little bit. We're back again. We're going to recap the craziest WrestleMania weekend and the most expensive for some of us here in Vegas. Some of us was there in person. Derek, who was probably here, but I'm going to go this way because I always get it wrong. And then I assume below me it is D-Risen at Shane. So, guys, let's get right into it. How was everybody's weekend? I haven't seen you guys in a couple weeks. I know you guys had a stand-in, a guy by the name of Corey, who I physically have not seen on the pod, except when I saw it. And I was like, oh, man, they replaced me. But go ahead.
I'm gonna argue the same thing I argued before. You have met Corey.
I know, but I've also met other people. Like you know, there's been multiple times when Rand has been like, "Oh man, I saw you were hanging out with so and so," and I was like, "Who?" And he's like, "Dude, I was like, oh, he was just there. I was just talking to him. I didn't even know who that. He's like, that's so and so that does this and that with this person." And I was
that's
like,
how you and I met.
I mean, I was just like, okay, like literally, I don't even believe I spoke to Derek the first time I met him because I was like, that's my homeboy. And I was like, all right, this guy doesn't give a shit about me. So I was just like, whatever.
Who the Samoan man was.
Like, I can almost remember where you guys met up. I think I met you before, but I know the second time I saw you, I was sitting on a cooler at WrestleMania. I think it was night 2. Talking on the phone with my wife, drinking a beer, and then I saw you and Rand talking. I was like, and then just kept going about my business. You know, so hold on. Let's acknowledge the fact that I'm rocking the Happy Rusev Day. Yeah, the middle is messed up because it's green. If you guys have the shirt, I had to pull it out of the archives. I watched a couple different pieces that I realized I forgot I had. I have some original rock stuff. I have the boots to asses, if you guys remember that tee.
Wow.
And then, you know, the cool thing about it is it has the official wear patch.
Oh, the one that I always took off?
No, I left those. Now that separates from the wherever Fanatics is getting their stuff from.
Yeah, that's
but, you know, shouts to Fanatic. This hat is fire. This Giants, New York Giants draft day hat, you know, aka Derek's favorite team. Just want to let you guys know. Appreciate
I have to go with probably no one's favorite team.
Blasphemy.
I'm pretty sure that the millions of people in New York City that are Giants fans tend to disagree.
Still love the Jets.
So, bro, I'm not gonna lie. You were spot on with that first time we met. Like, spot on. Crazy.
I understand.
Marcos and I met at MagFest, and we chatted, had a good time, and then that night, Rand was like, "Yo, you got to beat my boy Marcos." And I was like, "Is that the dude I was talking to today?" He said, "I don't know, but you two are identical, and you two got to connect."
Yep, you know, we're the same people from two different moms, apparently. You know, a lot of people don't know I'm actually Caucasian. I am not Dominican at all. I am purely Caucasian. My name is not Marcos. It's Michael. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Joining you from the Bumps and Bruises podcast. Brought to you by Colgate. Colgate is where
we needed a little less flavor in the podcast.
I mean, that's the whitest thing I can remember. We're a Crest family here, bro. We don't use Colgate.
But yeah, Marcos, you were traveling the high seas and going on a little vacation. You came back tanner than ever.
Somebody
Michael turned into Marcos.
You know, somebody got to go out there and, you know, beat those tariffs, man.
Hey, duty free.
I had to go directly, baby. I need my stuff.
We had a whirlwind. We drove down to Atlanta on Thursday, back on Saturday, so that we could get home for WrestleMania. First 2 matches. Don't try this at home, kids. I had the phone set up in the middle so I could watch while I was driving. Don't do that. It's not safe.
Just want to let everybody know this is the portion of the show where we express that any individual's comments here are solely their responsibility and not the responsibility of the Bumps and Bruises podcast. Please listen to us for entertainment. Do not do as we do. Thank you. Go ahead, Shane.
We did have a smart drive car though, so the car drove itself, and I just had to make sure it didn't do anything stupid.
Once again, guys, just want to let you know that the opinions expressed by every individual here is not a representation of the Bumps and Bruises podcast, but is a representation of each individual. And once again, my name is Marcos at the Sunset Kid. That is D Risen at Shane, and that is Derek, aka I don't even know. You took off your original name, the Lock
He's the
King
Lock
or something.
Stallion, mother
The
truckers.
Lock Stallion, and that's a name that always makes me feel weird saying it afterwards.
Because the stallion part makes us question everything when we have to say it out loud.
So you got in, you watched the first two matches on your phone. Derek watched the first two matches at the box office, waiting to get his ticket corrected. No, that was night two.
That was
Night one, you out there. You know, if you guys don't know, Derek is the one that's always next to the green smiley guy. You know, that's his homeboy. He looks different because Derek is usually the pale, tall white guy that's next to him. But no,
Derek was visible all
the
three
entire
nights
show.
back to back.
And there's a couple times that
I didn't
he was
rewatch
looking at
anything
his
yet.
phone.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the entire time. Jey Uso's Monday night entrance, they pan out, and all you can see is Derek just standing. As it pans further and further, you just see this huge white figure because you were wearing your Mania Club jersey.
Had that jersey on because it stick out.
So as it pulls out, there's just this gigantic white figure, and it's Derek. But yeah, so the one that I had to make sure that I didn't miss, because as much as other people might not agree, the yeet was in full effect. Had to see Jey Uso Gunther because we were hoping it went as it went, and we got to see Jey get that title.
Yep. The Yeet Master himself, damn near was yeeted on himself the entire night. Just went out there, you know. And although, you know, I'm not gonna go match by match in terms of, move by move. It was a good match. It told the simple story, and I know the IWC community has some issues with the finish. Yeah, they made Gunther tap, but I think it's for a much more different story that they're going to tell with him, as we saw Monday Night Raw. But it also, like, it puts a bookend for now, at least if they feel like it, to their story, because, you know, he was a cocky heel that didn't take Jey seriously because he beat him a couple times, and Jey not only won, but he disrespected him by legitimately making the toughest guy or the most seasoned wrestler tap, which, you know, it's unheard of. I can't even remember the last time that Gunther or Walter, same person, tapped ever. I don't think there's a match out there.
Well, there's one that stands out, and this is the IWC internet wrestling community, for those that aren't fully immersed. But there's one that stands out more than anything, and that was a very similar kind of build, not quite as over the top, but Drogonov, when Ilya was going after the UK title, and how did Ilya finally overcome and finally get the belt off of Walter?
He
at
made
the
him
time?
tap. It wasn't the elbow off the top rope that he does. You know,
Nope.
He made
got
him
him, hit him with everything, finally got him down, pulled him in from the same position, almost the same position in the ring, and Walter attacked the exact same way in the exact same amount of time.
They're probably trying to tell that story.
It's exposing the weakness that Walter has.
Yeah, the rumor is that that's how you beat him, is to make him tap out. He always taps out quick when it's a chokehold.
He's not trying, because he's trying to live and fight another day. He's not trying to have an injury, you know, because he's very, like, if you follow his character, he's about business, very business oriented. And like the last few weeks, it's been out of character because they pushed him. He's always been stoic and always the ever present, you know, giant or person to overcome. And it's kind of like, he's like, well, on to bigger and better. Like, I don't know if we might see that anytime soon, but I don't see him tapping. Let's say if if he's the universal champ, not the universal, excuse me, if he's the undisputed champion, you know, because that's a top tier. You know, there's always a step for him to climb. And I think until he gets to the point that it's like, nah, this is the best step that I have, you know, I don't know. Or
I
maybe
agree.
I'm
And I
wrong
think
because I don't know
it's
anything.
long-term storytelling. I think somebody knew what they were doing, and I think that's how we continue the growth of that character, because it was at a point that, you know, he was kind of mimicking that I can't be beat, nobody can stop me. But it looks like there may have been a weakness found. But then we got what at least Derek and I have been waiting for, and I know there's others as well. The second match, which I still watched in the car.
Jesus. At least
As
that
we
one
all
I've seen
watched
in person.
Well,
That one I've seen in person. I didn't see Jay. I didn't see
I
Jay.
wasn't going
at
to see
all.
that in person because I was still going to be at home.
Why you
watching
didn't see Jay? Because you had issues with your first night ticket too?
So got there. They dropped me off hella far from like the stadium. Night two, I got dropped off way closer, but they dropped me off hella far from the stadium. So walking to the stadium, I get there, and in my head, I'm like, you know, they got to sing the national anthem. Triple H got to come out, say some
They did that
shit.
way earlier
You
than
know what I'm
that.
saying? Stephanie might come out like she did last year, you know, whoop de whoop, this, that, and the third. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm good. I get in there literally as I get to the floor, because you know I sit on the floor. I get to the floor, see everything. I hear his music hit. So I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? He just came out. Cool. Security stopping people. So I'm like, okay, maybe he about to come from the thing. But I look at the ring and he's in the ring. I'm like, fuck, I missed the whole match. I missed that whole match. That entire match.
Well, you know, to quote his lyrics, it's just you. It's just you, Oos.
Yeah.
You missed it. You.
Well, the good news is Peacock, Netflix.
Oh no,
watch the replay.
sure. All the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Definitely caught it, just didn't catch it live like how I wanted to, because like I said, to me, definitely should have been the main event. He is main event Jey Uso. That's been his title for 4 years, 5 years, 4 years.
You know what? That the main event of night one delivered the way it needed to deliver.
It definitely did.
It's kind of like, you understand, because they put a banger. Like, you could debate that the women's match in night two should have gone on last in night one too. You know what I mean? There was a lot of good matches here, and it's kind of like is a toss up. I like that WWE is not static. They kind of like move things around. I know some people think it's like, oh, but it's to the service of the wrestler or the fans, and it's like, bro, they're just trying to do what's best. They're trying to set it up so there isn't a bathroom break, you know, where people will get caught on TV leaving their seats necessarily and all that shit. So
we did get that because we absolutely saw Derek leave his seats.
Yeah.
But
we'll talk about that when we get to that segment.
But go ahead. The next match.
Match 2, the New Day and the War Raiders. Long and short, the titles are back where they belong. 12 or 13 time, depending on how you want to count. Time tag team champions, the most ever in the WWE. Give them their respect.
Should it be the New Day? Because I feel like only Kofi was the one that was a tag champ at every single win.
Hey, it worked for the Freebirds.
Okay.
And there was a point that E and Woods were the ones that won the title because Kofi was out for like a year with his ankle surgery.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Look,
so the respect goes to all of them, and this gets the monkey off the back of they haven't done it without E. Well, now they absolutely have, so nobody can say that anymore.
But
I thought this grouping has done it before when E first went out, didn't he? Didn't they?
Yeah, they won the NXT tag titles. They got the triple crown.
But that's where people are like, oh well, it was NXT and they were main event, so it didn't matter. They were main roster, so them going down doesn't count. I would argue them going down to NXT was huge. Nobody said that when Becky was going down,
or when Dominic did it.
When Dom was running around with the North American, that was fantastic.
You know,
but he traded that in, baby.
He did. He got a little bit of an upgrade. But then we got one that Derek was waiting for, that he's been talking about, because we got the grudge of Jade and Naomi.
That was a good match, in my opinion.
It was. Like I can't remember the last time two black women had a high profile match in Mania that wasn't involved in a huge story that didn't have the title at the center. It was just like a good old fashioned
asses.
Whoa. Good old fashioned blood feud. That's
And I can't remember the last
and
time.
I think they're gonna continue. I think somebody's got to get busted open.
It has to continue because, in my opinion, and I love them both. Okay, in my opinion, Naomi should have took that. Right, it would have pushed it, higher. It would have gave Jade Cargill, like a bigger push as a babyface because she's 1-1 at Mania. She still got to get her get back. So it's a build up to the get back versus, she got it now. Now Naomi gotta, what I'm saying? She gotta run that shit back. She has to run it back. But rumor is she might end up getting like a little faction.
Who?
Naomi.
Or who? Miss Jada? Jada and Lash Legend?
I mean, I don't see why not. They're heels anyway, so it's not like they need to be switched and everything else. Plus, we need to really see this Naomi heel turn.
Well, if that faction happens, someone needs to take away Derek's wallet and his phone so that he does not start calling them. He does not spend recklessly because, good Lord, who knows what would happen if that faction happened.
Hilarious.
I had to go back and watch that match because I was unpacking the van from the trip during that match. I caught the very end.
Right, night one.
Yeah, night one was
tough. I get it.
It was 10 hours of driving and then trying to catch everything we could.
No, definitely understand.
But I think, as far as I can remember, and I read something about this, I think it was on Instagram or Twitter or something, and I don't think it's wrong. I can't remember the last time that there was a non-title women's match that wasn't some crazy stipulation and not a like 3-way, 4-way match, that it was just one-on-one, two women competing for whoever wins.
Yeah. No, I don't remember one. Definitely not with black women. Before he said titles, I was like, Bianca and Sasha, when Bianca won her first belt. But once he said titles, that's it. I think it could have been a stipulation match. I think that would have been cool to see.
And this is like assuming that there wasn't a weird bra and panties match or something with like Jacqueline.
Exactly.
Like I'm talking about, this was an actual match, not somebody in the back like, oh, you know what I really want to see, brother. Like
Poppies.
Yeah, poppies. Speaking of which, I thought I would miss JR and the King, and I don't. They were good for the time that they were there, and I think
JR, you can pop on over to AEW and hear him talk about Jon Moxley, the WWE champion.
Let's not hate on JR, even though JR is his whole act has gone staler than bread that's been left out for weeks.
It's one of the things that kills me about AEW, but that's a whole nother tirade.
But he also is an older man just trying to like not be home. And he does it for the money anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Which I can respect that. And obviously one of the greatest of all time. Mm-hmm. But then we got your doppelganger, Mr. All Gas No Brakes. LA going at it for that United States Championship.
Yeah, it was a nice and great match. That was a good match. My man showed his agility, doing his moonsaults over and over, and finally pinned him. I thought it told a good story. Pinned him 1, 2, 3, and then the biggest cameo of the night, in my opinion, was Haku jumping over the barricade, saying, "What's up?"
Like, "Yo, where are you going?"
Come on, man. He's Haku. Who's gonna stop that man? That man can do whatever he want, and I was for it. He did his
They
thing.
tried, and apparently
moved
that
so
was
fast.
not at all approved. That was not at all.
Well,
Bro,
who gonna stop him? You gonna stop him?
He moved
Like,
so fast, bro. Like, the shit was crazy.
He jumped the barrier. Like, come on,
He
dog.
old.
I can't jump the barrier, and he probably leaped it. Like, he probably like leapfrogged shit. And you know what? Haku always deserves his flowers. He's excited because this is the guy that's paired with his sons. So he's gonna be happy for them. And then it's like, I'm pretty sure Haku has been in Jacob's ear since day one.
Right.
We don't know the story back there. And then the fact that Jacob acknowledged him, and instead of like looking like what the hell's going on, and then the fact that nobody talked about it, it was like, it is what it is. I had people texting me like, it's like, wait, I thought Haku's dad was somebody. I was like, no, that's not his dad. I mean, I thought that was Jacob's dad was this guy. I was like, no, that's not Jacob's dad. He's just a proud uncle.
We saw in Philly that they are still tight because Jacob was with Haku for a good bit and had dinner with them.
My favorite legend of all time is Haku, out of outside of the Mount Rushmore. Like, he is the most down to earth guy. He's probably the one wrestler that I have a bunch of candid pictures with, just me and him just shooting the shit. He's as jovial and as funny as it is, and he also can look scary. But I've never seen the scary side of him. He's always smiling, laughing, and he has like this laugh that's like it's like just go watch the clip of him on Dark Side of the Ring when they showed him the old boy tripping. It is like, I don't care how bad your day is going, you can listen to Haku laugh all day. But then again, all gas, no brakes.
And one thing I did is with that match, they still made LA Knight look strong. Like when he hit that BFT with the moonsault, smooth, looked fantastic, kept him strong. So he doesn't get.
That was a lot of camera work. That was a lot of camera work because you got to think about it. That's a 300-pound missile coming down at you. You got to get in front of him just the right way.
Well, he did. I've seen that not work.
Huh?
I've seen that not work, and it looked good. Sorry, Derek, I talked over you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead, man.
But yeah, I think we were saying the same thing. Like, he pulled it off. It worked.
Yeah.
Before we leave from this match, so some controversial shit happened. Because, he left through the crowd. He didn't go back up the ramp.
Okay.
Somebody threw something at him.
Really?
A fan threw, I don't know what it was, but a fan threw something at him. I got that from the person we all know, Joy. Because they were sitting on the others, they were in the suite on the other side.
Okay.
But yeah, a fan threw something at him. And I mean, also on that, like outside of that part, like, bro, he hasn't been in WWE for a full year. Like, I know I met him. I don't know if y'all met him before, but I met him,
I've never met that man.
At the party, I mean, that's because you are him, obviously.
I've never.
Together, a black hole opens.
He takes on the beard when he's in public, so that way, people don't know it's him.
Like, he's the man. He's one of the nicest guy. I'm so happy for him. It's funny because when I was speaking to Rand, like, I was like, man, I looked at this picture and I finally figured out the first time I met him. I met him like in 2018.
Oh, word.
There's a picture of me, Solo, aka Cepha, and him just chilling. Solo looking trim, slim, and had his braids, and Jacob looking the same except a little bit darker beard. You know what I mean? Like, those are my guys, man. Yada mean. Much blessings to them. I was very fortunate to be cool with them, on their way up, and I'm so happy because it's like somebody like you know what I mean? That you're like, oh man, I'm so like, it's like I know you, Shane, developing the youth in sports. When you see somebody that you mentored or coached, or somebody you just knew, in my case, because I definitely did not mentor or coach anybody in the Samoan dynasty, but like seeing them and I'm like, man, and talking to them like, yo, you gonna make it. and then them being unsure, and then now they're like, holy shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's happened a couple times. So I definitely know that feeling. It's a great one to have.
Yep.
Then we got a quick injury replacement for Mysterio, who seemed to go out with a kind of a hip flexor groin injury. And we got
and I like that they were precautious there, because Mysterio is 50 something. I believe he's like 52. Like, I know he looks jacked and everything, but this man is still like 5'2". Like,
well, yeah,
his frame
his
is
son
carrying way too much like physical body weight. It's not fat, it's like muscle. So it's like, shit, bro. You're never supposed to be
looking
that
at
big.
him now versus what he was like WCW, that's a different man.
Yeah.
But we got the newly debuted, hasn't even been a month, Rey Fenix with a WrestleMania match against the also brand new debuted El Grande Americano. So between the two of them, we've had like a month. But El Grande Americano pulled off some craziness with that reverse 450 splash. And I think the only negative of this match is that Rey Fenix had to take the L earlier than I think they wanted him to, but I think it was probably the right move overall.
Yeah, because I think Rey Mysterio was going to lose regardless.
Yeah,
I think this is to push, and then we saw in the beginning, before the pay-per-view started, the PLE started, that I think this is leading to a match at the AAA event. You know,
I think you're right.
I think Grande Americano might either be the champ before then, or he might be challenging somebody. Like, you could take it any different way. You could take him challenging Alberto. The Patron.
Do you think he makes it there?
Yeah, because all those rumors that are flying around has already been proven false. It was made up by an account, and I think Alberto Del Rio at this particular point in his career, he's not making any more waves. Like, it's a manageable. I mean, it's a manageable issue. Like, that whole thing was him flipping out on a fan, wasn't it, or something like that?
He hit a fan.
Yeah, but he was in a situation that it wasn't like he went into the crowd and randomly hit him. The guy, you don't physically touch a star or an athlete. You know what I mean? Yeah, nobody should get hit, but it's like, come on, bro. Like, it's Mexico.
We
it's
saw
a
what
different
happened
world
with the
out
Malice
there.
in the Palace, though. Like, you were expected. I agree. I fully agree. Like, you don't touch the people that you're paying to see. At that same time, there's some decorum that you're supposed to have as a professional, that you don't go into the stands. And he absolutely went into the stands.
WWE is riddled with guys that have beat down fans for touching them.
Like CM Punk did it. He hit the wrong person though, too.
Yeah, and it's like you don't condone it, but it's like it's not out of the box behavior for anybody in combat sports or sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. I think he's manageable enough to transition to a new champion, or he might just defend the belt against Penta or somebody. And then I think Dominic Mysterio might be the face, at least for that weekend, and defend his title there.
And I think that's probably the move. Like, but I wouldn't be shocked if Patron drops that title before we even get there.
I mean, they probably only got one show, if that, and I might be wrong, because I think Mexican pay-per-views is every 60 days or something like that.
Well, they had a show for May 3rd that got canceled, and it was a U.S. show. But that's been canceled and for those that don't know, the WWE has acquired the Mexican promotion AAA. So that's the luchador factory. That's almost every luchador that you've ever seen, that you've ever cared about, has come through there.
Yeah,
except for maybe El Grande Americano.
And it's funny because AAA and CMMLL, a lot of those guys are like people that the Americans never really see here.
Right.
So you think about it, it's like everybody's a luchador, everybody wrestles the same way, but you have to be, to quote the Macho Man, cream of the crop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to, for you even have the privilege to come over, which the ones that crossed over, you got to understand how talented they were. I'm talking about, your Rey Mysterios, your Juventud Guerreras, your Bandito. Like, you know what I mean? Even though I feel like Bandito's more, he's stuck in the AEW ick, which is AEW ROH, where if they don't have a plan to strap a rocket to you, they sometimes forget because there's a lot of toys. It's like me with electronics and sneakers, like
and shoes.
Like, I have all of them that I like, but I only have 2 feet, and then sometimes I forget and be like, "Oh man, didn't you get those?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
I did."
And it's like I'm looking for the right time to wear them, and then it's like, "Hey, you wore them to work for 4 hours, and then you put them back in a box, and then never see them again." Like, yeah. What about tonight? How come you wore them tonight? I don't know. I couldn't find them.
Which that acquisition of AAA right there also got involved. Vikingo, who 3 months ago was main eventing AEW, closing out matches.
He, to me, Vikingo, is probably the biggest part of this acquisition for me. He is lights out crazy.
Yeah, he almost killed himself in AEW.
Yeah, he is amazing. He's amazing everywhere that he wrestles. It doesn't matter if it's in front of 4 people or 40,000 or 100,000. He kills it. He's always ready. As you saw in the press conference, I kind of chuckled because he was wearing his gimmicks. He was in full ring gear. Nobody else was, but he was. And then he's out there busting out what's it called? I forgot the kicks that they do when they kick you in the head. Pele kicks or whatever.
Pele kicks.
Yeah, hit it, wearing a full-blown suit at ringside when he hit a Grande Americano. That was pretty cool.
But so El Grande Americano goes over. Right decision. We're going to keep that growing. I think Rey Fenix bounces back quick. He's going to get a big push as well. And then we get into arguably the least desired and really the least overall exciting match of the weekend for me, which was Tiffy Time versus Charlotte Flair. They definitely put in work.
I thought
they put on a good match, but I felt like, and there's again a fan looking in. I'm not backstage. I don't know these women. I only know their personalities, and from what what I mean. And I apologize if I'm getting it wrong, but I felt like Charlotte Flair was like sandbagging her.
It definitely looked like in a couple spots.
And it might be that I have a skewed opinion because it seems to be, and myself included, it seems to be the internet wrestling community's consensus that they don't really bang with Charlotte. Even though she's great and hasn't done anything except live her life.
Well, that's just what we see. There's a lot of rumors, but we won't go into all the rumors. But
yeah, I don't know them. I don't know anything backstage.
After night 2, they did have the roast, and a whole lot of the roast was targeted at Charlotte. So I don't think that was coincidental.
And I was she there live?
I don't think she was.
That's messed up.
If it was, then there was some craziness in the back that we haven't heard about yet.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Tiffy did get her teeth literally kicked in. Somehow they got it fixed before she even went to the post-show news conference. So that,
and she pointed out, she's like,
yeah, they're good. But her teeth were absolutely ripped.
Yeah, and I don't know how you put in veneers because those were not veneers she had kicked out.
No, those were her teeth.
mean? Those were her teeth. And then
so
for somebody
she finished that match, went to the dentist, came back, and did her post-show.
No,
and
they probably did.
Tiffany Stratton in her post-show, she said, "My lifelong dream was to be in the ring with Charlotte Flair, and I got to do that at WrestleMania."
Yep,
so
and picked up the win.
Got the win, and I think gave a little bit of the flowers to Charlotte, which I think after this whole thing where it kind of seemed to get personal a little bit, I think that's an impressive thing to do, especially as someone that's still a rookie, if you will.
I honestly think that if they run this feud back, maybe give it a couple months, a year or so, it's going to be a lot better. I just think it was the timing of it.
Mm-hmm.
You put this rookie with a veteran that's coming back, and the crowd sided with the rookie when normally it wouldn't be the case.
And I think it wasn't supposed to be that way. I think Charlotte was supposed to come back, get the love of the fans, and Tiffy was supposed to be, I'm with this heel faction. I'm going to get the belt and be even more heel and make everybody hate me. And the crowd just went, nope, we love you now.
Yeah, and it's like, and I think it was also a weird spot because when she turned on Nia Jax, she became face. She wasn't heel.
Yeah.
Well, the whole Tiffy time stuff went over like gangbusters. Like the crowd loved it.
Yeah, like I wonder if maybe if you would have had somebody like Bailey match up with her and be the heel, that would have probably played out a little bit better because Bailey could play the heel and they have chemistry. And then I think the promos would have sounded a lot better. And then, you know what I mean? Because there's people like that work on like Charlotte came back in my opinion as a wrestler, like your position on the card, she came back in a vulnerable state.
Yeah.
And you know, whether she's Charlotte or whatever, it's like the competition, I assume, in the locker room is crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like she didn't have her grasp firmly on it, on the pulse anymore. And there was people that
you would have had Bailey on the WrestleMania card.
I mean, yeah, Bailey always deserves to be on the WrestleMania card. And I think I have my thoughts on the Bailey replacement thing. I think they learned from the Charlotte thing. And I think that whoever was going to partner with Lyra was supposed to turn on her.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured that Bailey doing it will just bury Lyra. And it wouldn't make sense because whereas you had Becky, who had a year-long story with her that extended from NXT, from Lyra calling her out, from Becky beating her, from Becky losing the belt to her. You know what I mean? And then the admiration, them being from the same country and everything, it made her heel turn more significant.
The problem with it is that the crowd was chanting one more time for Becky to go in and hit her again.
They were, bro. That shit.
But you know, you get big time. You don't get big time. You get the man again, the anti-hero, Becky, and I think Bailey is actually finally hitting her stride as a face, and you turning her heel right then and there probably would have just been like, all right, like this chick. If you think about it, she's been heel for the better part of the last 6 years.
Yeah, and I hope that of this, if they don't immediately put Lyra and Becky in a thing together, because it kind of seemed like they set up for Lyra to be out for a bit, I would love to see Bailey and Becky immediately, like Bailey to step in and go, you know, you came in here and you said you were going to be, you know, take over for me and be my partner to make sure that she got the win, and then you just beat her down. What is that? And have Bailey be that face. I think that could be a money-making pairing.
Hopefully it's not a situation where, you know, as we both know, there's wrestlers that can make anything good.
Yeah.
An example, Rusev. You know, you give certain people a narrative that you're like, you know, he ain't gonna do nothing with that. And, you know, Bailey was kind of like nursing that story. And then they were like, you know what? Because I honestly think that whole Lyra Valkyrie thing was supposed to go to Becky. That was supposed to be Becky's story the entire time. Like, I honestly think so. Because you get either Becky or Bailey gets the IC title off of her, and they immediately make that belt. Make it the workers' belt. And I said it before. If either one, it works either way. Unfortunately, somebody's going to get the shaft. Right. And it doesn't look like Becky is. I think Becky's going to take that belt and kind of go on her Stone Cold run. Remember when Stone Cold won the belt, the IC belt, after he was a main eventer and kind of like ran with it before he got hurt? I think that's something that you could see. So, and it kind of like leaves Becky with odd man out because, I'm sorry, Bailey, because it's like, where does she go to? Like, unless if it's something that they write Lyra off TV for a while, then Becky could feud with Bailey, and they both have something to do. But either way, it's going to be a disservice for somebody because there's only one storyline, two people fit, but there's three people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Triple threat.
Speaking of triple threat, that gets the main event of night one, where we got Seth, CM Punk, Roman Reigns with the Wise Man.
They still call him the Wise Man, which was wild.
Well, what else are they supposed to call him? Paulie Dangerously?
By his name.
Paul Heyman.
He got a first and a last name. Sure. Like even Monday night, they call him the Wise Man.
Because that's his moniker.
Yeah.
That's
like calling you Lock Stallion.
It's like they attribute Roman's success to the advice he gave him. And if you think about it, storyline wise, it works. Because Roman, like before when he first started being the tribal chief, he was very hot-headed. He wanted it, and then he would be like, hey, let me smooth this over and talk about this. Like, you always need a right-hand man that handles business.
Right.
You don't handle everything with beating somebody down. That's how you get enemies. And but it was crazy. I love the storyline, and I hate to toot my own horn, but I called the whole thing.
And I have given you credit. I've given you credit all the way. The first person before the internet wrestling community, before any insiders, the first person to call exactly as it played out was the Sunset Kid right up there. Marcos nailed it.
I was like, if y'all didn't see that episode, go back and watch because it's there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that might have been like episode 2. That's how long ago he called it.
Yep. I was like, yeah, this is happening. And I was right.
You called it to a T, though.
And it went down exactly as he said. The buildup became more apparent. I didn't see it when he said it. I thought they were going to go a different direction, but the way they went and the way that they went on Monday made it that it's fantastic. I can't wait to see how that.
I even called the favor. I said that the favor was going to be Paul Heyman with CM Punk.
Yep. But so then we got that match, which was an absolute banger, absolute classic, start to finish. 3 guys that are the best in the business absolutely delivered with Paul Heyman right there. He did as well. And
which tells the story.
Made it fantastic.
It tells the story that you don't need a championship to tell a story. Like
exactly.
Like this feud did not need a belt. And even the Seth storyline, I don't think it's going to touch a belt for months. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they could be so good, like, chilling. And then once the full story wraps up and they establish Seth's group, then they'll focus on the world title. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, first you got to establish yourself. Like, I don't, like, there's certain factions that it works that when people get, like championships, like, I don't know, do you guys remember the New Look DX?
Yep.
When Shawn Michaels was hurt, that Monday Night Raw, Triple H was the IC champ. And then the faction was basically started with the New Age Outlaws winning the tag belts, Triple H coming out, and then X-Pac. Not X-Pac, X-Pac. Instead of them having a situation where they formed organically, like that made sense because now you like their new faction or new version of a faction, and now they have power. Versus, like you have a pay-per-view, like a whole bunch of people that are not together win belts, and then they help somebody win a belt, and then all of them have a belt. It's like, oh wait, so you guys are a faction because you guys are all the champions,
right?
Like, what happens if one of you loses the belt? They're gonna fall apart, like you know what I mean? Yeah,
trim off that dead weight,
kick him out.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, absolute banger of a match. I mean. Yeah. There's not a ton to say about it other than go watch it if you haven't seen it. If you're
what's your opinion?
Go watch it.
Night one. I felt like night one was harshly judged. The reason why is because we're trying to compare like state to state here. Like, like everybody's whack, but then nobody's saying what alternative was there. It's like last year it was much better. I was like, was it? You just had bigger names at the end, if you want to think about it. Like The Rock, that was the only difference. The Rock was involved. Same players. You sub out Cody Rhodes. if anything, I think CM Punk is at the level of Cody Rhodes in terms of star power.
Yeah.
And it was a tag match. This was an actual triple threat match, not rest holds, not a clusterfuck at the end. You know what I mean? Like yeah, we had Paul Heyman. But Paul Heyman was part of the match.
Yeah, they absolutely churned start to finish.
Paul Heyman on a pole match.
And then it's like people were like, oh, everything had a match. There wasn't like just pure storyline. Like, you know what I mean? There wasn't people getting jumped after a match. I don't know if you guys noticed, there was no debuts in night one. It was simple wrestling.
Right.
But people were like, oh, it was whack. And it's like, was it? Like,
I think the thing that led a lot of people to that is they were hoping for a little bit more from Jay and Gunther. And I could kind of see it. I don't think it was a bad match. I thought it ended a little abrupt, but I was fine with it. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It didn't bother me the way that it's bothered other people.
Like, that match went how it's supposed to. Yes, the finish could have been executed a little bit tighter, but you're not going to have Jimmy interfere because then you cutting his win or the importance hit at the knees. Jay needed to do this alone.
Right.
Yep.
And Gunther doesn't have a faction anymore. So Gunther was going to do it alone regardless. Like, you know what I mean?
And Kaiser hasn't been on TV since they talked about him being in DMs.
Yeah, and then, you guys smartened me up to the fact that he's not even with him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they had a segment that I missed over the last few months where he was like, hey, man, you go have fun doing whatever you're doing. Like, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of pull back together now, but overall, it seems like that's done.
So,
and then it's like they put certain matches that needed creatively to push title changes and to push. I believe night one was more the narrative backbone of going forward. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, could you have switched certain matches around? But no, then it would have taken away the appeal of night two. Like,
I think both nights delivered. They had down points, both did, but they had some absolute high points. And overall, I think it was a good Mania.
And even whatever the internet wrestling community wants, not everybody likes. Case in point, Derek. When Randy Orton, the partner in his opponent in night two, the reveal
as opponent
was Joe Hendry. Everybody was like, yeah. Derek was like, I'm gonna go get some snacks. Like, you know what I mean? Not everybody likes it. Like,
Derek heard his name and disappeared.
Yeah, it's like let's say all of a sudden, the Tiffy time match would have had interference from Nia, would have had other a whole bunch of stuff that oh, there wasn't enough of that. Or let's say Rey Fenix would have won, then people would have been like, oh, then why is the Grande Americano even on WrestleMania if he was in a job?
What was the point of the whole story?
Like it delivered. Like, oh, it didn't have enough star power. Bro, they had to argue with the biggest stars in the business right now that is not a champion.
Yeah, I don't even think it's possible to argue any other way. The triple threat to end the night absolutely delivered the three biggest stars that don't carry titles right now.
Yeah, and then so night two, for those of us that watch it from beginning to end, unlike Derek, who
not by choice.
I think you missed two matches when it was out of your control, and then you walked out of the third one under your own.
He walked out. He's like, I'm here.
Like,
so Derek saw a third of the card.
Yeah. Not
one was
choice,
definitely
though.
by his choice.
Only one.
Backstory for that: Derek got there and had ticketing issues, and the box office had to fix it. And then they didn't tell him anything about how it was fixed. They didn't compensate in any way.
Just took my phone and was like, "Oh, it works now." Then I had to go back though. I went there, it still didn't work. I had to go back. They took my phone again, and I'm sitting here. Luckily I got two, so I can semi-watch on my phone. But still, I finally
You're like the folks in the nosebleed that I seen the videos of where everybody's watching on their phone because it's too far away to be able to see.
That's why I'll never
I'm too afraid of heights.
That
Like
too.
I went to a preseason game for the Ravens, and it was like a preseason like matchup like of the defending champs. Like I think they played the San Francisco 49ers back when they beat them for the next year.
Oh,
And
wow.
we were in the 500 section, and I couldn't look. I had to like look like to the side. I couldn't look straight down because stadium seating, bro.
Like
It's
tilted too.
it's like a slant, and it's like it just messes with my nerves. So yeah,
I could never.
I would rather be in the
I would
lobby.
stay home.
I'd rather be in the lobby or in the watch party.
There was a lot of people that had nosebleed seats and was like inside watching. So
yeah, I don't hate on a watch party, but I don't think I would pay to go to Vegas to do a watch party when I've paid for tickets. I would find a way to view from a viewable seat, from a viewable distance.
Well, put it like this: the norm that we have created with sneaking on.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
Because I was about to say, listen,
but it was a good show night one. So night two opened up with a banger. You had the women's world title match, correct? With
Absolutely.
Io. You had Bianca, and then you had Rhea Ripley, who tore it down off rip. But these are women that have chemistry with each other. They fought each other a bunch of times, singles matches, tag matches. Like they know each other's stuff, and boy, did they show it. And I called this one as well. I said, Io is gonna walk out because she was being disrespected, and now nobody disrespects Io.
No more little sister in her, and I agreed with you on that one. Like I thought that Io was gonna get the come up. I think they did a fantastic job. Everyone looked,
and it wasn't a fluke. She won. It wasn't like it wasn't a squash, but no, it was like, yeah, she won.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, oh man, like these two people focused. It was like, nope, she came in, did her thing, hit both of them, pinned them, boom.
And all of them put in dominant performances too. We talked about earlier, folks staying to look strong even in a loss.
Yeah,
all three of them look like they can immediately challenge for the title easily.
They could have a replay, or they can run the match back, or Rhea and Bianca can split off and have a feud to see who earns the right to get their one-on-one match, and it can happen anytime. I think it's a situation where it's dope and it makes sense.
Then we got in the next match. Oh, did you have more to add?
Yes.
Bring it. Sorry.
Damn.
I was trying to stay tight.
You're good. So with that match, the little that I seen from my phone, it was a great match. God, no, it's terrible. It was a great match. I think the only thing that I would have changed is Bianca getting pinned, because her statement was that she's never been pinned at WrestleMania. True. And that was the only streak that we have. Because
that's true.
Roman had his streak. He lost last year. He lost this year, as we just talked about. We didn't even really go into that turn of Paul Heyman with the chair and the nut shots to both of them. But
that's you talking about the nut elbows.
Listen, did you see him hit it and then go like this to Roman? I was like, Jesus.
But you got to think about it. Unfortunately, Rhea is the hottest female superstar in the entire business. And
I don't know if that's
arguably so.
I think they have to protect her. She's the Stone Cold.
But why?
Like,
what's there to protect? Like, she could take an L. Obviously, she took an L. Monday
I know, but not in the worldwide stage. If you notice, she hasn't lost really, except with some shenanigans. And I also think she's more charismatic than Bianca. Bianca could brush it off and be like, girl, or whatever. Like, I'll run this back. And Bianca has already, you could tell that her character is so over and she's booked so strong that she can overcome being a championship win for a returning superstar a la Becky.
So what I'm hearing is the power of a strong black woman.
Yeah,
and that's why she got pinned.
Hey, man.
Yes.
But on that note, This show will continue without me.
Oh yeah,
you guys do me
Gotta slide
proud.
out.
That's where I was
gotta
keeping it
slide
tight. I
out.
was keeping it tight.
So you guys enjoy the rest of the show. I will check back in to see if you guys are still on, and I'll try to hop back in.
All right.
Peace.
We'll keep it sailing. That was a callback to him going on a cruise.
Ooh, wait. I wonder how we'll figure that out once we're done.
So then we got to go. If I may move to the next match.
Go ahead, man.
Then we got what is turning into the annual Drew McIntyre bored at work selfie, as he took a phone.
Oh, this is twice in a year, twice in a row.
I think it's 3 now, isn't it?
Is it 3? I know last year. I remember last year he took a selfie from whose ever phone. But I didn't see the selfie this time. So,
and he did it when he was waiting on the entrance 2 years ago.
Oh dang! Yeah, no, I don't remember.
So this is 3 years in a row that he's done the still bored at work. But we got the Las Vegas street fight of Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, the Sin City street fight. Excuse me, which is exactly kind of what we expected to see. Lots of big bumps, lots of nothing too extreme. No John Moxley bleeding all over the ring, which I'm completely fine with because I don't enjoy the deathmatch style, but in the very WWE style of the street fight, got exactly what we expect. And Drew McIntyre goes over and gets the win against Priest. I actually one of the biggest takeaways for me from this match is Damian Priest went for the Undertaker old school tightrope walk. And
I did see that on my phone.
Pushed him off through the tables.
I did see that on my phone.
Which
it sucks missing that match.
For decades, I have said, why doesn't someone just push him off the top rope? And then Drew said, you know what? I'm just going to push him off the top rope.
Today is
down through the tables. And Drew got the victory there, which I think is needed. I've said, and Derek, I think you've agreed that Drew needs a title run.
Yeah.
Give that man
some type of title.
Respectable run, please. I want to see it. I think he's earned it.
Does he have to win that title at WrestleMania? Especially since he carried us through the dark era.
And he carried us through the dark WrestleMania. And I don't know that it has to be a WrestleMania win. I just want him to see him have a meaningful title run.
Mm-hmm.
Give him more than, what, a minute and a half before Damian Priest cashes in on him last year?
Ooh. That's only because that ramp was so long. It would have probably quicker.
But he definitely needs it, and I think he's earned it. I hope he stays happy and they keep pushing him because I've slowly turned into a Drew McIntyre fan. As someone that was not a fan in the beginning, he has converted me because everything he does well, and it seems earned.
No, for sure. What was the next match? First match I got to see. Well, no, crap. Because I think that was the match I left. Was it?
Nope. Because then we got the fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental.
Okay, yeah. There we go.
Penta,
my first match.
Finn Balor, Dirty Dom, and Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title.
Dominic coming out with the Luchador match initially.
And I loved, have you seen Dom describe why he couldn't get the mask off?
Yeah, it was like Jim Carrey's The Mask. It was the mask gave him powers, and he was like, nah, I'm Dirty Dom. You know what I'm saying? I'm the prettiest luchador in the game. Whoop, this, that, and the third. So yeah, hilarious.
But he said he went to take it off, and the mask was like, no, I got to stay on. I need to give you this power. And he said, no, mask, come off. And that's when he had to rip the mask off. But it looks like it got that power because Dirty Dom is now the new Intercontinental Champion. And I tell you what, this is another one that I've been converted. Dirty Dom might be the face of the WWE in just a few short years because everything he does is entertaining. Everything he does either gets over or gets booed, gets ultimate reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And
but Cena
the
said
man
that in
can
the interview.
do no wrong right now.
Cena said that in an interview that he's gonna be a face. He's gonna be the face of the company soon.
Oh, dang, I didn't know that. Yeah. Go Cena, go me.
But no, Dom winning in the fashion that he did was amazing. When he left the ring, started walking up the ramp and turned around and booked it back. I'm talking about ran a 40 back into the ring. Okay. Got in without hurting himself because people be blowing quads trying to slide in that ring. Just to hop back on the top rope, hold up that title, and everyone went nuts. That's why I wanted to win was Dirty Dom. I wanted Dom to win. A lot of people wanted Penta, but I feel like Dom creates more stories. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think a lot of our crew wanted to see Dom with it. I think we're excited about it. Dom creates a lot of stories. One of those stories, again, just to the entertaining parts of Dom, WWE is filming him going to the back, getting ready to go do his interviews, and he passes by Scott Steiner and Scott Steiner's son, who is training.
Yep.
And Dom goes, "Oh, hey, get a picture of this," and runs over and shows them the title. And Scott Steiner's like, "You son of a." He knows how to work. The fact that he knows how to work other workers, not just the crowd, shows. I mean, you can tell he's been raised in the industry. That's what he does. He knows it in and out, and he delivers.
He also said he's carrying two of the biggest, I think he said luchador names or Hispanic names with the Guerreros and the Mysterios. So,
which is absolutely true. I mean, he's tied to both of those families. Those are two of the biggest luchador families in history. And right now, he's carrying on that legacy as perfectly as anyone could hope. So then you're finally in the building. You're finally sitting there. I see you as you're messaging us. I screen cap as you're looking at your phone instead of looking in the ring. Randy's waiting for his opponent, going, come on down, and say his name, and he appears, Joe Hendry. And the Lock Stallion immediately leaves.
Yeah, man. I think it could have been a lot of people. It could have been Rusev. For us to get Rusev the next day, Rusev could have come back.
So
Rusev could have come back and won, and I would have been happy.
Obviously, we know what happens because on Monday, spoiler, we're basically telling you everything that happens on Monday while we're reviewing all this.
Yes.
Monday, we get Rusev back. On top of that, Monday, we get Randy RKOing the champ, obviously setting up that next feud. So I think they couldn't have Randy take a loss there because then that it wouldn't have made sense and everyone would have hated, I think myself included at that point. It would not have made sense for him to immediately go into a title push if he took a loss at WrestleMania. So I think having Joe Hendry, you represent TNA, you get a fun surprise opponent that the majority of fans are excited about. And kudos to Joe Hendry because I think he did a fantastic job. Kudos to Orton because he played off of it perfectly. Orton hits the RKO, pins the TNA champ, which Hendry still looks strong throughout that. And then Orton hits the Joe Hendry turnaround pose with his pose intermingled to absolutely give a tip of the cap to Joe Hendry. And Joe Hendry was on Busted Open the next day and said that he had a conversation with Cena where Cena came to him and said, you listened to me with everything I told you needed to do in the Rumble and you hit it out of the park and everything you did tonight was perfect. You're going to be a major player in this game. And I know you don't like it, but I absolutely see it. There are a lot of clips out there. So he is not just the say my name and I'll appear and an above average wrestler. He has so much charisma that I think a lot of the regular fans haven't seen yet that they're going to get exposed to with this working relationship with TNA.
I'll give him a shot. I don't know if I'm a clap. But I will give him a shot, and I will look back at his resume, and we will see what's up and see why y'all love him so much.
Which in our text message group, I sent, and I don't know if you watched it.
Nope.
I sent a hint. Go watch it. We'll put it in the comments for the show so everybody can go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Was when he faced off as a heel against, I believe that match. So there's one that he went against Elias and I think Elijah now. Absolutely fantastic entrance. There was another where he was the heel in the UK and came in with this incredible heel entrance where he parodies popular songs to make it his entrance as he comes in. But definitely worth the watch, and we'll put some of those clips in the comments so people can go take a look.
Like I said, I'll give him a shot. I mean, say his name and he appears. Sounds like Beetlejuice to me. I'm just saying.
That's just 3 times. You just say it once.
Hey, close enough. Hey, might have a stutter. You're gonna say it 3 times anyway.
His poker face. It's in Vegas.
Oh man.
So then we got AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
I love that match too.
So I think this is probably my disappointment of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think AJ really needed to, and I don't think people realize this. I think there's a lot of folks that don't see it, but Logan is still new to wrestling. He's still got a lot to come and a lot to learn.
Yep.
There's absolutely no doubting his athleticism, which is just incredible. I mean, he hit a Jericho-esque middle rope moonsault completely across the ring to the point that when he was flipping, he hit his feet on the opposite rope with that moonsault. Insanity. Like, athletically amazing. But we had Karrion Kross show up and try and get AJ Styles to do anything he could to get that win, trying to give him some brass knucks, and he refused to do it. And it resulted in Logan kind of stealing the win. For me, what this does for Karrion Kross is probably more than it does for Logan Paul or for AJ Styles, because we then got the Karrion Kross promo in the back where he absolutely railed against everybody, saying, all of you, like, my contract details have been released. Like, you're pushing this guy that's come from nowhere, and I can't even get a match on WrestleMania when we're in my hometown. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And he's right about a lot of it, which is what makes it so good and made a lot of people think, oh, this is real. I think it absolutely is storyline. And as I said, and I had some people ask me, where did you get this information that he was going to get pushed? I don't have any insider information on this. I just think that Karrion Kross is in for a big push in the coming time after Mania. As soon as we saw him go back to his old entrance, that NXT when he was Killer Kross, I think we're probably going to get that back. And I think we're going to get a big push for Karrion Kross. And I think the AJ Styles Logan Paul match probably does more for Karrion Kross than it does for either of them.
Facts. Let me touch on something with Karrion Kross real quick. Going back to night one in just a piece. Karrion Kross was the one that told Roman that everyone was going to turn on him. Everyone. And he came out when he said that and put that hourglass and flipped it over and let that sand start running through. And everybody has left Roman.
Yep.
Because Paul was the last. That was it.
That was the last one.
So great long-term storytelling, whether it was on purpose or on accident. I love it. Karrion Kross is a cool dude. So is Scarlett, because I met them in person outside of like wrestling stuff, and they're cool as hell. So love to see it. Hopefully he gets a push.
I haven't met them, but I've heard absolutely good things from the folks that have, like you were just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I want to see what we saw in NXT. So let's hope he gets that push, because I think it's deserved and I think he can do a lot with it. Then we got one that we've kind of talked about a good bit in a kind of baffling move to me. Bailey is replaced in the women's tag team championship. Liv and Raquel versus Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch, not Bailey, as Bailey got attacked and injured the night before, and Bailey is not on the show, but Becky and Lyra go over, and we have new women's tag team champions. We've talked about this a good bit, so I'm not going to go over it too much.
Yeah.
But to dip into what we were talking about Monday night, we immediately see the rematch, and Liv and Raquel get the titles back on Monday. Becky turns on Lyra, and now we've got that set up. So is it going to be Lyra? Is it going to be Bailey? Is Becky going to be the anti-heel Stone Cold? She's back to the man? Or are we going to get Big Time Bex where she's the heel? I have to say, I was not a fan of Big Time Bex as a heel. I did not enjoy that run. I didn't think she was good at it. Obviously, in the ring, she's fantastic, but I didn't think that was suited to her strong points.
Gotcha.
I think the women's tag match was good, but I don't like where we're going.
My thing with that one is, why have them drop the belts to just get them right back? Why not just have, Bailey go out as normal? They could have took an L, but they could have took an L to her returning and beating up Valkyria, and then that would have created the same little feud.
One, you get the WrestleMania pop of Becky, which I think is the full reason that they did it. Not the same, especially if she comes in and is immediately a heel. You don't get that huge Becky, she's back pop that you almost cheap pop at this point because they immediately backtrack on it. You don't get that huge face pop for Becky that she got in there, and it gives Lyra a little bit of a boost because now Lyra does lay claim to a tag team champion.
Mm-hmm.
When you go back and you look at everything, you say, oh, they did win the belts, even though the next night they lost and Becky turned on her. She got it done once. So you give a little bit of extra feather in the cap, if you will, and give that extra, that's like 5 points of creator wrestler bump when you get that tag belt.
I see how you did the feathers, because all the feathers was coming off in the ring at WrestleMania. That's why you said it.
Because she came down with feathers. That's exactly what I was talking about when I said feather in the cap.
No, did you see? I saw because I was there, but literally all the feathers she had in her hair, every move she hit, feathers were flying throughout the ring.
The same happened with the roses for Bianca. Yep. Every time Bianca did a move, another rose got left in the ring.
I missed that match, and I was sad. I was pissed.
I know that was one that I feel for you.
Two of the biggest matches, that I was interested in,
that you were incredibly hyped for. Yeah, you needed a little white lady there with you.
Where was my Karen? She wasn't there.
But then we got what was probably the most anticipated match of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. American Nightmare versus You Can't See Me, going for number 17. Dethroning Ric Flair if he can get it done. Do we get the final boss? Does everything come out to play? Instead, we got Travis Scott.
He got his receipt.
Well,
yeah,
sure.
That one, I'm not gonna lie. That one to me was good match. I like the finish. I like the ending or the result. There we go. That's a better word.
We like Cena getting the 17,
but that one was a little lackluster. I definitely wanted more. I wanted chaos, just like last year. I wanted chaos. Definitely thought we should have got the final boss. We didn't get anything.
We got months and months of storyline leading up for Dwayne Johnson to tell us the next day on Pat McAfee, yes, I was supposed to be there, and I decided that it wasn't going to be a good story if I was there. And they decided on how to go from there. Well, narratively, and from everything that we've heard and we've read, you helped tell that story and you helped write that story up until that point, putting yourself in that final boss position. For you to then say, I'm not going to do it because I want it to be about John and Cody, made no sense, because it wasn't about John and Cody. It was about you pulling the strings of this entire thing, trying to pull Cody's strings, and it didn't work. So you pulled John's strings and you got him there. Even you just coming out and having Cody deliver a cutter to you instead of Travis Scott would have been so much better.
But the way they could have did it, he didn't even have to get in the ring. Him and Travis Scott could have came out together with the final boss music, not Travis Scott's. You know, he could have sent Travis Scott to the ring. Travis Scott still went out, took his receipt and everything else, but you get final boss on that stage because he's the biggest name in wrestling. Whether he's wrestling, whether he's in a Versace suit or a Versace shirt with nothing on under it,
and some bell bottoms,
whether he got that belt on his shoulder or whether he's coming out and hitting the people's eyebrow. Put him on that stage and send him down and send Travis Scott down to take that bump because, you know, he deserved it. Hey, he slapped the shit out of Cody.
Yeah, he did.
Like he deserved that Cody cutter. You know what I'm saying? And then, I mean, still have it go the way it went. But
and you have Cody turn back to look at him. Cena hits it, catches it, gets the pin. Final boss walks back. That's all you need. I fully agree. They could have done it exactly that way. His involvement would have been 2 to 3 minutes from the entrance ramp without having to go any further. And just doing that still, and him immediately walking away, don't go to the press conference, don't do anything else. It still gives Cena the exact spotlight that he got, that we saw.
Yeah.
And it adds an element that lacked.
Yeah.
To have all that build up for them to go, nah, we're not going to have Dwayne Johnson here.
Because it was
narratively made no sense.
Even Stone Cold coming out, that little segment when he ran into the barricade, which how you've been driving this 4x4 for how long?
Dude, that could have been you. That was almost you. You could have been that girl and been in the backstage being like,
hey, I'm suing.
Listen, you need to take me backstage to see your doctors and have Austin make sure I'm okay.
Listen, and you know I would have milked it.
I know you would have.
But like, yo, what show we all going to?
I'd have been like, oh man, I gotta have a fist surgery on my knee.
Listen, but no, what was it? Yeah, even with that, like, you know, we all expected Stone Cold to come out, help Cody, even if Cody still lost. Stone Cold to come out and help Cody because we didn't get that last year. You know what I'm saying? We got The Undertaker, which The Undertaker's great, but The Undertaker coming out to beat up The Rock did not make sense.
Which I think we can't kind of gloss over the fact that narratively they did do the portion where Cody and Cena fight back and forth for the belt. Cody rips it away from him. Cody is getting ready. Like, I'm just going to take you out with the belt. The ref has already taken his bump. He's out of here. I got Travis Scott. He's out of here. Now I've got this belt. And Cena says, no. This is what I told you about. This is the part that you have to make the decision. Are you going to do it any way possible? And, you know, you have that little bit of linger, or are you going to be the good guy that you're supposed to be? Well, Cody decides to be the good guy, and he loses, not shockingly.
Nut shot real quick.
So, being the good guy is not always the best thing.
No.
But we've hit a lot of the high points from Monday. I don't think there's a whole lot that we need to cover there. Rusev made his return.
There is a little bit, though, because there's some stuff that y'all didn't see that we got.
Please lead the way.
So skipping into Monday Night Raw, I'm gonna skip over some stuff because what I'm about to say, if y'all didn't see it and if it's not on social media already, which it could be, we'll backtrack. So Gunther coming out after Jey Uso, all that other stuff, Gunther coming out and him attacking Michael Cole initially, Pat McAfee hitting him. Pat McAfee turning, he turns his back and he's like, just go on and go, whatever else. And Gunther putting him in that chokehold. From the replays that they showed us, because I was there live, they didn't show all those people in the front row jumping over the barricade and literally coming over there to attack Gunther. Like, when I tell you, I don't know if it was staged, which it probably was. It was probably storyline related, but in the crowd, I thought it was real. I was like, oh my God, they jumped the barricade. I was like, oh, they're never coming back to a WWE show ever again, because it's over. They're banned.
Well, you know who those people were, right?
Yeah, those were his teammates. Or
that was
teammates.
No. That was his crew from the Pat McAfee show.
Oh, that's his podcast people. Okay, got it.
So that was his podcast people. One of those people is a former teammate.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they were the teammates. So, okay, so you did see that. Did you see it on social media, or did you see it on the recap when they were?
You could see them jumping in, that, like them pushing in, and the security stopping them.
No, but it kept going for a while. That whole time that the camera was panned on McAfee getting choked out and him passing out or whatever, that whole time security was fighting.
Wow.
And when I tell you they sold it. And like, in the crowd, I've never been like, oh my God, is this real? Because I was like, they jumped it so fast. Like, it happened so fast. It was insane.
Which is funny, because a lot of those guys are not in great shape.
Listen, it's obviously, it makes more sense now that they knew it was coming. So they knew.
Well, and honestly, they may not have. If you've watched the Pat McAfee show, if you've seen the way those guys act, they freewheel everything. They don't go follow a script. They do what they want to do, for better or for worse. And for a lot of it, it's made them a lot better. There's a reason why that show is the #1 sports show in the world right now.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't play by any set of rules but their own. The closest rule set that they follow is ESPN says you cannot say the F word. And almost every show they say the F word anyway. And he says, I'll just pay the fine. I don't care.
Listen, that was insane. I do want to go back and talk about when Jey Uso came out, because we got Sammy coming out afterwards. His music hits, which he was not at WrestleMania at all.
Oh,
first WrestleMania without Sami Zayn, without Kevin Owens. And it's been a while since that's happened. He comes out, he congratulates Jay, as he should, that being his boy. They're over there, they're yeeting and all that good stuff. But Sami Zayn stops. He stopped yeeting, he stopped celebrating, and he stands behind Jey Uso. And then the crowd, I'm pulling up my phone, getting ready. Some shit about to go down. So at that moment, I was like, oh, Sami Zayn heel turn immediately. A feud. Since, in the beginning of the Bloodline time, it was Jimmy that accepted Sammy off rip, and Jay was the one that was hesitant. I don't trust you. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third. Same thing he did with Paul Heyman. He didn't trust Paul Heyman either. But it was Sami Zayn. He ended up just hugging him again. And then we got Big Jim, finally coming out, whoop-de-whoop. This, that, and the third. Find out, he's okay. Because we ain't seen him since
the beatdown.
The massacre that was in the ring that we all had to watch. So, had all of them coming out. They hit their little handshake, hugged it out in the ring. So that was great. And, they bounced out. But, I definitely thought Sami Zayn was about to get the heel turn. I was like, whoa.
So you can see that in the live broadcast too. And it definitely, I went, oh.
They built it up and they took it from us real quick. So,
which I think that means that's probably something that we see in the relative future.
Yeah, so it has
coming. Is that how we finally see Sammy get that championship finally?
Sammy take it from Jay, man. Jay got to hold that championship for a minute.
I do think he needs it for a minute. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, he has to have it. I would honestly give it to him. Give it to him for a year. Let him have a full year run. He can drop it at WrestleMania. I think that's okay. You know, it took him so long, and he's put on banger after banger after banger, and I sound like Sheamus, but he did. Because him and Roman, even though he took the L's, you know, some not by his control and some, you know, he just took an L. But he took Roman to the limit. Back when Roman wasn't losing at all. Roman was not seeing the bottom of the bottom of the mat, you know, looking up at the lights or anything like that until, you know, last year's WrestleMania. So I think he needs to hold it for a year at least.
I think a year might be long. I think giving him a 6-7 month run.
You can't do him like Kofi or Big E. He gotta hold it longer than 9 months. Because Kofi held it long. Kofi held it 9 months. Big E held it 6. And Bobby held it. I want to say Bobby held it 6 the first time he held it. So I feel like it has to go closer.
I have a spoiler for you.
Oh Lord,
that Jay is not a black champion.
It's true. I know. As I got to Bobby, I was like, oh well.
I was like, I see what we're correlating, and these do not. Because at that point, we're just putting him in the same title reign as Roman. So if Roman's not going to be included with those guys, then we can't include Jay.
I mean, true, but I feel like he needs to hold it for a significant amount of time. I feel like it has to be longer than 6 months, regardless.
So as long as there's defenses, like if he holds it for 6-7 months and he's defended it, you know, monthly at pay-per-views on Raws, like it's not just a title that's sitting there on his shoulder, then I think 6 to 7 months is feasible. I don't want to see much shorter than that at all. Like a 3-month reign, I don't want to see a transitional championship.
Who takes it? In the picture of people we have right now, who do you see taking it from? Because it can't be Gunther. It can't be Gunther because what was the point at that point?
Yeah, I don't think we'll see it be Gunther. I don't think it would be Sammy. Lots of other folks are embroiled in other things, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Seth just go, I'm going to come take that.
I can see it
with the faction that they seem to be putting together.
Give me my GM booking. Give me Xavier Woods finally getting his, because they took his crown.
Yeah, they did.
They took his crown.
Roman did.
I mean, they were part of it.
Sort of.
They were there.
Roman is the one that ripped it up and
crushed the first one,
ruined the other one and put it on his reign.
So,
but speaking of the King's reign, then we had New Day getting in the ring. Akira Tozawa and Otis come out and say, "Hey, we want those titles. We deserve it right now." And as it was getting ready to happen,
which made no sense,
Rusev returns. No, it didn't make any sense. Like that's just like me showing up and going, "Hey Jay, I want to fight you for your belt." It makes more sense than that, but you get the point. Rusev comes back and destroys the Alpha Academy, just leaves them crushed. And then we see the New Day walking in the back, like, man, what just happened? And the reason that I'm bringing that segment up is we see Karrion Kross as they walk by, and Karrion Kross gives them the nod of approval, like, see, I told you guys. I told you what you needed to do.
Karrion's been, bro, I'm telling you.
He's been cooking.
With him just from the backstage. He hasn't touched the ring until, last week when he fought AJ Styles on Monday Night Raw. He has not touched the ring, but he has been telling amazing stories with his little hair switch up.
Right?
With everybody. And it's been great.
I want to see him do a Woods hairdo.
Now, how did you, since we're talking about the New Day for this half a second, what did you think of that new ring gear? That ring, because it was Attack on Titan. It was a mix between that and what's the dude who wore the skin suit back in the day?
the Giant Gonzalez,
Yes,
Elegante.
and if you remember, because I guess I just remember a lot when it comes to them. They talked about how they wanted to do a skin suit. They were joking, in my opinion, but they were talking about how they wanted to do just a flesh covered suit.
Yep.
It wasn't flesh covered because it was blue. I thought it was fly. I like the bones, the
Yep.
spine bones on the back that had, it was a picture of a unicorn, 2 unicorns on the back. I was trying to figure out what that was. That was great. I thought that gear was pretty cool.
Yeah. Hats off to Davin Pro and Main Event Gear.
Mhm.
Davin Pro's the designer that does basically everything you see from the New Day. He
Oh,
also
sure.
designs a lot of other folks. And then Main Event Gear, same type of thing. If it's not Main Event Gear or Mikaze or
Mhm.
Bianca creating their own gear, there's not too many others that are as top
Oh,
quality
very
as
cool.
those three.
Oh yeah. Even to give a nod to Mikaze, like that Jey Uso gear, even though I didn't seeing it afterwards, that was
The Usher inspired.
yes, that was a tip to Usher.
The
Yeah.
Usher.
I was like, okay, I see it. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool as well. So
Yeah, those little Easter eggs. When you can pick up on them, it's even better. But even when you find out after the fact, you go, "Oh snap! That's dope. That's a great little crossover."
So no, very, very good, very good.
One
let's see, what else?
we also don't want to gloss over because it had some impact. So
Mhm.
Io Sky, Stephanie Vakir shows up and says, "Hey, I want to fight. Let's go."
Mhm.
And they did, but we didn't get a winner because Roxanne Perez and Julia showed up
Mhm.
and took them both out. Rhea comes down, makes the save, and then Rhea and Julia have a little face off at the end. So these NXT girls are absolutely killing it. This is the first time, probably out of anything, that we're seeing NXT call ups come in strong.
Yeah.
And well, I guess Braun Breaker was one too that came in strong and has been strong. But what they're doing right now with this women's division, these girls in NXT main roster, absolutely crushing it. So that was awesome to see. We got a little Jay video package. He came out, yeeted on everybody for a bit. Dom and Penta, which the big thing from this, we got another surprise return. It looked like things may not be going in Dom's way. It looked like Finn might not be helping Dom out after Dom kind of turned on him and hit him with a 619. But then as things were looking a little bit questionable, we get the return of J.D. McDonough, who knocked Penta off the top rope and let Dom hit the splash to keep the title.
Mhm.
Overall, the match wasn't amazing, but the return of J.D. McDonough is notable because he looked good. He looks in great
Got a
shape.
big pop too.
And he did get a big pop.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always good to see when somebody comes back. Then we got the closing segment, which was a lot. CM Punk comes down. So first we get Seth and the Wise Man in the ring. CM Punk comes down to interrupt. They start fighting. Roman comes down to interrupt. Roman looks like he's going to get the upper hand, gets ready to hit Seth with a spear. Ooh-ah! And boom! Braun Breaker hits the ring and demolishes Roman. Knocks him to the outside. Roman says, not yet, big boy. Hits him with a slap. Roman falls. He's like, I took everything. Braun, full speed, trains around the ring, hits him with a super spear through the barricade. And Seth and Braun and the Wise Man, Paul Heyman, if you will, because you like to use real names, stand strong in the ring. As the show closes out, they walk to the back and say, basically, we're here, we're coming for you.
So tell me this. So me being there and watching, I looked up at the Titantron and the credits were rolling before those last spears.
They hit the executive producer
right now?
They hit executive producer Paul Levesque, and then everything went crazy.
So it looked like it's over.
And I think they got us with that. That was That was a episode 1, season 972 premiere swerve. But then I actually didn't watch the whole show, but I did catch the main event, NXT. One thing that I did catch, there were 2 parts that I caught. I know there was a big development with the family and Joey Stacks doing some stuff. I'm going to have to go back and watch that, but I've said for a few weeks now that I've really liked those segments, kind of the Lucha Underground style segments. But then we got Trick and Oba facing off in the middle of the ring, and as they're getting ready, Trick is like, I want my match, I want the title. Say his name, and he appears. Joe Hendry comes out, and they face off. Trick says, "Nobody said your name. Get out of here." And he turns, and Oba hits him, and then Joe Hendry hits him. They throw Trick out of the ring, and the 2 of them look at each other and face off. So we might get some more, TNA, NXT champion versus champion. Oba did throw out, hey, Moose tried it. He didn't do it. But Moose was X-Division champ. This is the world champ of TNA. So we got something brewing there as well. So a whole lot of craziness. We got SmackDown tonight. This is a late show for us because it has been craziness. Marco's traveling. I'm traveling. Derek going to Vegas. Live at Mania. We got new belts on the belt wall back there for him.
You know what I'm saying?
we got some Rated R Superstar back there.
Just got a few. We got the Rated R Superstar. We have that Legacy Shawn Michaels #1.
That's right. That's right. That was the deciding purchase factor.
#1 out of 300. And we got, where is it at? I think it's right there. Soon as I figure out how to point at it. Right there. Wait, hold on. We're almost there.
That's the 24/7.
We got the Gunther belt.
The Gunther IC
Signature Series IC belt. Don't know what number it is. Don't matter. Not that big a Gunther fan, but it was a great price and I couldn't pass up on it. So we got.
I know what that's like.
Amazing price, but that belt I like. That belt. Now Cena holds it. We got that belt right there.
Did you see though that this belt right there is listed as no longer the title? It says it ran from 2021 to 2024. So are we going to see Cena come back with that spinner belt? All I know is I have 2 belts that I want to get. I'm not a belt collector. I got this one because it was a ridiculous, essentially now it was more than half off what the prices they are on the website now.
Yes.
And had to do some work for it, but Fanatics made it right. I want a spinner belt because I don't know, I like it and they're dumb. And I want a North American title, both of which are not currently available on the shop. So I have a tendency to like things that aren't there.
I do want that North American.
Those are the 2 that I want to get.
That ox blood, burgundy-ish leather. That's nice.
I've heard the only complaint about it is that it's weirdly sized.
Oh, it is.
It's so thick. It's also really short.
The shape is weird, but the shape's also weird on that Big X NXT belt that's right there on that 3rd shelf.
Oh yeah,
closest to the New Day. That one's weird. What else is weird? WWE shop wise. Up down's kind of weird too.
Well,
I love that belt. I love that one.
There's a left, right.
I know. I gotta get it.
Or a New Day Tag Team Championship belt.
And that one sold out in 2 hours.
And then there was one for sale in a group that the Lock Stallion invited me to just recently. I went to message and saw that there was already a comment from Derek and that it had already sold, but not to Derek.
Nope, not to me. And I would have paid for it, but we'll get one made. Trying to think what else. I might have a couple more coming soon. So we'll see. We'll have to get a new wall.
He's always wheeling and dealing. You gotta build out like floating shelves along the side.
Might have to do that.
You got a whole lot. You got a whole lot of room to your right. It looks like you could do it there.
A lot of real estate over here. Got some real estate over there, but I also got pictures and stuff. This Mania weekend was stressful. I don't think Mania should be in Vegas. It was too much. It was definitely too much with it being in Vegas. You having everything Vegas and everything wrestling trying to collide. It's a lot. I think I like the regular cities. Hell, I'd rather go back to Philly.
Well, we get one that's kind of a lot, not nearly Vegas level, but next year we got New Orleans.
Yeah.
I'm tentatively planning for that right now. We'll see what prices are like, but my plan right now is I think I will probably return.
Not gonna lie, we'll talk off camera on the pricing for stuff, but you know how I did it for night 2 was the way to go for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well,
to be where I was,
and I have been very blessed. I've gone to shows since I was 7 years old. I've sat in the rafters. I've sat in the cheapest seats. I've been behind the scenes. I've been behind the curtain. I've helped put the ring together. I've helped take the ring down from indie promotion to TNA to WWE.
That's so cool.
And now what I've done, my last 2 events with WrestleMania in Philly and Royal Rumble in Indianapolis, where I was absolutely spoiled to the highest levels of being spoiled for 2 of the biggest shows in decades. I can't go back. I can't go back to being a normal person.
Now you see. Listen. So my first wrestling event was a live show. 2019, Denver, Colorado. Kofi had the belt, so you know I had to go. Okay. Got my tickets the day of because I actually forgot about the show and was just doom scrolling on my phone and was like, oh, they're here. Let's go to the show. I sat ringside, front row. It would have been if it was a live show, it would have been right behind commentators. That was my first experience at a wrestling show, period. And I haven't went back since then. I was like, I have to figure this out.
Yeah, and
luckily I have.
And I got spoiled a lot in a time that I could spoil because I worked at Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and ringside seating was a given. So that is what first ruined me, and then going to Philly and Indianapolis for my first Mania, my first Royal Rumble, respectively. I've done SummerSlam and Survivor Series 6 times each, something like that.
Never did either of those.
I was at the first ever Elimination Chamber in Madison Square Garden.
That's so cool.
In the 100 section, the front row, right off the floor. And back then, that was one of the best seats you could possibly have, especially for the Elimination Chamber that was raised up. So when you were on the floor, it was harder to see. We loved it. At MSG on top of that, but seeing Kofi's debut match for ECW row ringside, when my best friend and I, rest in peace, said, oh, let's cheer this guy. Everybody was like, who is this? And I'm like, let's go. He's from Jamaica. Let's do it.
He's from Jamaica.
And that's how we decided to be Kofi Kingston fans.
Speaking of Kofi, those side plates. Didn't get to see him in person because when I did Xavier Woods meet and greet, they still had the Viking Raiders plates on them.
Oh,
that night for Raw, before that night happened, they dropped their little video of them, throwing those in the trash.
Throwing those in the trash.
Who wants those? And getting those New Day plates. First New Day plates ever. Well, no, second New Day plates ever, because NXT had them. The shop just never drops them, which WWE, if you're listening, Fanatics, if you're listening, bro, give us more side plates. Quit playing.
Especially for New Day. Come on.
All these people have won titles, and not a side plate has dropped. You know how long I had to wait for the Kofi side plates? When he won back in 2019, I checked every day. I paid full price. No discount for Kofi plates. Come on. Thank you. Help me out.
That's why I need a spinner belt, because those side plates are on sale right now.
They are.
But I'm not ordering side plates without a belt.
They are. We're gonna get it for you. We're gonna make it happen. I told you I can get you a kid's belt, super cheap.
Nope.
Like $150.
Nope. Nobody wants a kid's belt.
Man. But those side plates were dope. Those New Day ones and the John Cena ones. The 17 time and then the farewell other side plate. Those are dopes too. Like I said, Fanatics, WWE Shop. Drop the plates, man.
Put them out there. People will buy it.
We are going to buy them. I'll put them on this belt for sure. And then I'll go buy the tag team belt.
This one, I don't know. We'll see.
All
right. But we got more coming. We got SmackDown tonight. We'll see you guys next week. Got anything to close this out?
Same as always. Y'all ain't got to follow me. All right. Go follow the podcast. Bumps the letter N, Bruises everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X/Twitter will be coming soon. But go follow it there. Go like the content. Go comment. All that good stuff. Y'all know what to do.
That's Derek Lock Stallion. Shane at Drizzen13 follows Bumps and Bruises. And we'll see y'all next week.